How are you doing today, sir?
Good, Steve. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you. I'm imagining you are, where are you?
I'm actually in Florida, of all places.
Oh, interesting. I thought for some reason I thought it was Europe or something because it was dark, but then behind you, but I realized it's just a bookcase.
Oh yeah, just a bookcase. Yeah, that's where the Starling is going to go. The words. Right?
Exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
How long since St. Vincent had you and Melissa and even Chris talked about working together again?
Well, Melissa and I have been talking about working together since St. Vincent, so we talk about it all the time. We've actually danced around a few different projects over the years, trying to find something to do. So all the time is the short answer. Like all the time trying to find something. And when this came up, I immediately thought of her and actually of Chris.
What was the closest project that came to being made before this one with Melissa?
Melissa has a television series with her husband, Ben Falcone, coming out on Netflix called God's Favorite Idiot. And I was going to go and do that with them and join their team. And then, with COVID and travel, it just they shot that in Australia and it just kind of didn't work out.
One of the things that's interesting is that the original Blacklist script for this project, the roles were gender switched. And I think it's so much better with what you did with it, having Melissa play the strong one and, Chris playing the one who is struggling. Can you sort of talk about that aspect?
Well, when I first read the script, that's how it was. It was the man holding down the fort, stronger, and the female perceivably weaker, taking a mental time out, and it just felt cliche to me. I'm like, oh, we've seen that 5,000 times. Haven't we seen that 5,000 times? Haven't we lived that like our whole lives thinking that's the truth? And for me, it just wasn't accurate. It wasn't the truth. It wasn't modern. It wasn't fresh. It just really wasn't realistic. I mean, I come from a single mom and I've been married 25 years and my two daughters. It's like they're so much stronger than I am all the time and so much better and healthier and all those things. And so flipping it was like just a natural thing. It was like the minute we flipped it, we're like, yeah, of course, that's it. Of course, that's it. Of course, the woman's holding up the world because women are holding up the world currently. So it just made a lot of sense.
What was it about the script? Because I would imagine you read a lot of scripts. You work on a lot of scripts. Obviously, you are a very talented writer. What was it about this story that said, I need to make this?
I think it was really the story, the hopefulness of the story. It was the hopefulness of a couple struggling through and pushing through a tragedy and getting to the other side. I'm always interested in stories that have an ending that presents the audience with a sense of hope, a sense of betterment, a sense that they can get through anything. The Starling is that story. The Starling is the story of this couple who goes through something unfathomable and gets to the other side. And I just found that inspiring.
It's interesting because when you made the movie, obviously you had no idea COVID was coming, but the timing of this release with what a lot of people have gone through, I think you could have never predicted this, but I think, maybe the timing is pretty good.
Timing is great because like the world is going through a collective grieving process, right? If we think about it, the last 2 years, everyone everyone I know has lost someone, knows someone who's lost someone, dealt with death and sickness and illness. People have had COVID, people have, everything. And also, loss of our privileges and the ability to be with people, to be with family. It's like a big collective grieving, collective sadness that the world's experienced over the last 2 years. And I think the timing of this movie couldn't be better because the movie is really about that. The movie is really about, okay, there's grief, bad things have happened, bad things will always happen. They're kind of baked into life, but goodness doesn't always happen, and laughter doesn't always happen, and happiness doesn't always happen. And the movie's about that. The movie's about how do you get through this grief, right? With elegance, right? With care, with kindness. And that's what these two do. They show us as the audience, there's a way out, and the way out is through. And they kind of push through and get through and work on each other and work on their relationship. And they find the proverbial light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm curious. So how does it work as a director when you are filming like an emotional scene? For example, I'm going to use the hospital scene in this, where you have Chris, who needs to, he's going to break down. You have Melissa, who's going to be crying. I'm just curious, how are you actually directing something like that, knowing that, I don't know how it works, but I would imagine the actor can't keep on crying again and again and again. There's sort of like, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to probably get a few good takes. I'm just guessing. I'm not a director, but I'm just curious if you could talk about that.
I don't really believe in a lot of takes. I believe like if you cast the right actors and you have a script you trust and have faith in, there's no reason to do 50 takes. There's no reason to do 10 takes. Like after 5 takes, I'm like, really, if after 5 takes, something's wrong for me, right? Other people have a different system and a different way of working. That's fine. But after 5 takes, I'm like wondering what's wrong. Something's not working. The actor's best take, I have always found, is like their first take. Like it's their raw gut instinct on the material and they just kind of do it and they're not really aware of it. They're not really aware of themselves or it yet. They just kind of do it and it kind of comes out and you're like, well, that's it. And then I found over the course of the years that in take 2, 3, 4, and 5, you're really trying to get back to what they did in take 1. So you're like, okay, I've learned over the years, watch take 1 very, very, very carefully as you watch all takes very carefully, but pay attention to what's great about it because the odds are you're going to want that again. So it's just like kind of modulation. So you get so I don't spend a lot of time beating actors up or beating material up. It's like, it's either working or it's not. And if it's not working, you got to find a different solution.
It's interesting because Clint Eastwood is known for filming The Rehearsal, and maybe he'll get one more take and that's it. And then obviously you have Fincher who might do, let's just say, a few more. And it all works. It's just a question of, do you film The Rehearsal then?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I film The Rehearsal. I do that a lot with children. I film The Rehearsal because they're like not aware. But a lot of times the actors don't like to shoot The Rehearsal. It just depends on who the actor is. There's no right or wrong answer. It's kind of like it's really ultimately whatever works. Whatever makes the actor most comfortable, whatever gets the best performance out of them is the technique you use at that given time, at that given point in the film.
On that note, I got to stop. I'm just going to say congrats on the film. I hope it's a huge hit for you. Thank you for giving me your time.
Thank you so much. Take care.